What's going on YouTube? H-Dub here. You know we playing Raid today. I am joined by some absolute arena legends. You guys know that Sacred Panda is the #1 ranked clan, so we had to go and discuss with them some things as far as in-game PvP goes and try to encourage more players to, get into the PvP life. A lot of people just stray away from it. They have their reasons. I understand. But we're going to talk to these guys nonetheless. We got Sethi up here and we got Big Bad, both in the SP cluster. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing fantastic.
That's awesome. So, we were talking a bit before this about, just plat in general and how to approach plat. We got a couple topics to hit. So, first off is like, how do you approach plat, guys? You guys are in the top. What are you doing? What are you doing?
You want me to go first, Seth?
Go ahead.
All right, so the #1 thing to approach plat is kind of understanding plat. So the first thing you need to do is stay in plat. So the thing that keeps you in plat is your defense. So the way I approach it, I build defense first, and then I move on from there. But that's step one for me is defense.
Okay. So got your defense together. Boom. What's next? You need to test that defense, right? You need to gauge the actual strength of your defense, right?
That's exactly right. Go ahead,
So
Seth.
what happens is somebody will put up a defense. We test it throughout the week. This way, whenever you get to plat reset, you know what works and what doesn't work. Then the next step would be moving to your offense. There's a couple different strategies going about. I mean, realistically, there's only really two strategies. You either play it safe or you go risky. When you go risky, there's a possibility you could lose these fights, but when you farm them, it's going to be a lot shorter duration on time, meaning 30, 45 seconds. If you play it safe, then what typically happens is you're more in the minute 30 range to 2-minute range. So those are really your two strategies for approaching plat.
So that's what we call play style, right? It's going to affect your play style of how you approach plat. So, and that's going to be based on your, like I said, defense. If you have a strong defense, you can play more conservative and you can still place well. And
Gotcha.
so a lot of times you consistently place better. If your defense isn't the greatest or you don't think it's going to hold up, that's when you can play risky to try and get the best placement you can get.
Nice. So you guys, you talk a bit about play style, right? And obviously you mentioned risky, play it safe, kind of those people trying to sneak in at the end or what have you, or not trying to push too high, trying to get something going at the end. And you've listed here some play styles, and I'm gonna just read them for you, and you guys can just say a little bit about it, right? So we got aggressive, we have team play, we have pacing, and we have safe and consistent. So if you guys just want to like briefly, touch on each of those points, well, go right ahead.
So aggressive would mean one of two things. Whenever I look at a defense, I say, okay, out of 10 fights, I can beat this team in 30 seconds, but I may lose 3 times. So what ends up happening is if I lose those 3 times, I don't lose very many points versus the points I win. So that's why I'm basically doing that to drag whoever is in the first position or top 3 or contender for winning first. I will hit them consistently to drag them down. So we try to basically let somebody from SP win. That's why we do that. But it is aggressive, and I mean, there is a risk you can lose more than just 3 fights. I mean, you could lose 5, win 5, but moral of the story is I drug them down on points, and that's what my goal was.
Right. Okay, let's talk about a bit about team play. What is team play? Because when you think about PvP, most people think they're going at it alone. Their account is either trash or it's great, and they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do. So exactly, obviously SP as a collective is trying to accomplish a goal. What do you guys do as far as team play? And you don't have to tell us things that obviously you don't want us to, but just give us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's no problem. Team play, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's going to be based on within your clan, right? So, for example, MAD, their team play is no one touches a MAD player during reset. They have a lot of numbers. So if they get in the top 50, there's 50% of them, or 50% of the top 50 is MAD. So that's a lot of clan protection there that is not able to see them and hit them. Our team play is a little bit less selfless. We like Seth touched on earlier, we hit the top guys. We look at our screen, we look at who's number one, who's number two. If they're not SP, we go find them and we hit them and we pull them down. That's what we talk about team play. The other aspect of team play is within your own clan, what Seth touched on earlier. During the week, we put up a defense. All of our clan mates try and find the best way to beat that defense. It does two things. It trains your offense and it trains your defense, exposes weaknesses, and then you can make your adjustments throughout the week so you're ready for reset. That's what we talk about team play.
Okay, nice. I love it. So pacing is, I really like pacing, right? This is one that I've pretty much been using myself as a play style. What do you guys, as far as do you guys even have anybody that like pacing plays?
Yeah,
Definitely.
So the idea of pacing is for somebody who whose account might not be able to survive at the very top. Once you crack that top 100, I'm sure a lot of people that have tried to push plat that broke that top 100 find out really quickly. The top 100, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. Those are the best offenses of all grade. And you will get hammered if your defense isn't good, right? So if you push too high, too early, you'll get pushed right outside of plat, and then you're playing catch up. So pacing is what we call you slow play it. You might push up, and say you start pushing at 30 minutes, and then you check your screen, and then you look and you see, oh, wow, I'm 120. I normally finish 300. I'm outpacing what my defense can hold, essentially. Like I said earlier, defense is what keeps you in plat. Offense is what gives you placement. So everything kind of goes back to that defense and knowing the strength of that defense and how well it can hold. Otherwise, you're just going to get farmed right outside of plat. And like I said, the top 100, if you don't regularly push and you crack that top 100, you will get hammered. It's just
You'll get pushed outside of plat. I mean, legitimately within what 5-7 minutes. So
that's faster than that. I mean, it could happen by the time you're done with the fight that you won. You'll be outside of plat.
Yeah,
because eight people hit you.
Yeah, that's happened to me a lot. All right, last one is safe and consistent. How do you? So your defense has to be like obviously on point for that to even work for you, right?
Yeah, that's my play style. Because I don't have the +4s. I don't have the crazy blessings. I am fortunate and have the duo, so my defense is solid, and I know that. So I pick an offense that is safe, and I have I call it my 100% win team. I have a near 100% win team when I'm paying attention to that team. My average fights, I would say, is about a quick fight for me with that team is 1:30. They can go up to 2:10. Here and there, I get stuck in it's happened. I got stuck in a 4-minute fight, and I'm like, but I always win those fights, so I'm safe on the win. So I never boost anyone. I only hit mad at reset, and I never boost them, and I always pull them down. And since doing that, I've always placed my best. My best to date 17. But I've the last 3 months I've been consistently top 30.
Nice, man.
Everyone,
congrats on that.
every MVP plays.
Thank you.
So
that's awesome.
Realistically, that's the best way to approach it. As long as you're really not losing and giving them points, you're playing it safe. And that's how you drag people down. So if somebody's in first place and he approaches that fight and says, okay, I cannot lose. If I lose this fight, he could end up winning first. That's why he approaches it the safe way.
Now, we've talked about, how to approach plat. We've talked about play style. Those are obviously things that, people, they're very interested in, right? But let's, go over some of the current issues with PvP. We know a lot of people aren't interested in PvP because there are just issues. It is terrible since they've started the year of PvP. Sheep is crazy. The duo is crazy. People are just outmatched as far as the wallet is concerned. What do you guys want to say anything about it really quickly? Because you guys are at the top. So it's
I'll start on this one.
From the other side of the fence. You guys are on the other side of the fence where people say the grass is greener, right? Clearly the grass is greener on you guys' side.
I'm on both sides because remember, I have an account that I spent at least $20,000-$30,000 on that is really not viable for top 50 plat. And I've spent $30,000 on this account because of my pulls. When Plarium made the dupe system. That's really what started the ripple effect. Then the blessings. Then once the blessings came out, then we started with, obviously, the duo, which broke the game, changed the entire meta. And it's okay to shift metas. They just didn't understand how strong the duo was. So if you don't have the duo, you kind of have a hard, you're easy pickings. I mean, you're legitimately easy pickings. So for PvP, if somebody's approaching it and it's not really worth their time to stay up without the duo at the moment. Now, they are starting to release champions that will eventually, I hope, counter the duo, which we found ways to counter it. But hopefully they'll come out with something that is a quick, easy counter in the future, I hope. And Plarium, if you're watching, please release something new. We need something. But for the most part, go ahead.
And to touch on that, so leading into the duo is what created a huge sudden change in the meta, right? So accounts that are level 80 that pull the duo are now suddenly top 100 when they couldn't finish plat. That's how strong they are. But the reason why they're so strong is what else is going on. What Seth mentioned is the blessings, right? Sheep is so broken for endgame arena. You nerfed 1/3 of the champions, and you nerfed the only way to consistently beat the duo. They put up block damage. There's no cooldown on the revive. There's endless counterattacks. The only way to deal with that is to debuff them, and you can't do it with the high-end accounts that have blessings.
Yeah.
You look at every Marichka in the end game, every one of them is running sheep. Yep. Any UDK, sheep. And they're 5-6 star blessings. And you cannot run a debuff into them. Otherwise, you get sheeped and your run is trash. Then you run into the aggressive playstyle issue of you're taking losses and you're boosting.
Plarium vaulted they vaulted 20 to 30% of their champions with sheep.
Yep.
And some of these champions were meta champions. I hope they reconsider sheep in the future. I really do, because it's really annoying. I mean, not only that, but say I'm in a fight and I sheep somebody. I just brought them back. What is it? 40% HP? If I almost killed them and they get sheeped, isn't it 40%? I believe. And then you can actually still buff them with sheep too. So I mean, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that they've done. But yeah, sheep is an issue.
Yeah. Definitely. So sheep's an issue, the duo's an issue, everything's unbalanced, empowerment, awakening, people have ridiculous gear, it's oil, and then we got an accessory dungeon that's coming at whatever point, right? So definitely issues with just balance in PvP. Everybody knows that one. All right, let's move on to the next point. This is a new one for me. There's obviously in-game people, a lot of them enjoy PvP, but you guys want to talk about in-game players that don't do in-game PvP.
Yeah, so I'll touch this first. So we have some of the biggest Krakens in our account. I mean, have spent people's yearly salary on this game alone. And the two issues we hear from them is reset time. They don't want to wake up, or they got jobs. And they don't, it's not, for whatever reason, they invest thousands of dollars in, and they don't want to wake up at 2-3 in the morning and ruin it. So that's the number one thing, is why a lot of endgame guys who spend big money do not do reset.
Yeah. It's a huge issue for me as well. Waking up at 3 a.m.
For me as well, too.
On a Monday.
It's hard, man. It really is. And honestly, in a sense, we're troopers because we do it. And I'm fortunate enough to where I can go to work really whatever time I want. But some people, you don't go to work. That's the last day you're working there,
Yeah.
So I wish they would reapproach the way they do reset. And I get it that they have it set up to where they come back into the office. And I think that's when reset ends. Technically, right? Isn't it the way they do it? They start work around the end of reset.
Exactly. It's based on when they're in the office. So,
but maybe there's a better way to approach it, or move it to Saturday. We've spent crazy money. Hire somebody to come in. I mean, look at how much money has been put into some of these accounts.
Yeah.
You cut the advertisement budget by 0.01, and literally you'll pay the salary for that one person to come in on Saturday for the time frame they need to, then go back home.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be realistic. It makes it competitive. There's so many people out there that are from our time zone that just don't want to play because of having to wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. Some I think are even 4. I mean, that's so unrealistic. It's the gear. I mean, it's gear driven to their time zone, where Polarium is. So I hope they reapproach that sometime in the future, and maybe we'll get more competitive people, and we won't have such a monopoly effect of we have 2 major clans and just random, singular people out there duking it out for Arena Reset. Honestly, I guarantee you, out of all the high-end accounts, there is probably only 5 to 10% of them actually played during Reset. Maybe I may be totally off. It may be less than that. It may be 2% to 3%. I guarantee you there are other high-end accounts out there that do not get played during Reset just because of the time zone issue. Look, how many players did they have? Was it 100 million or 3? I don't remember what the figure is. It could be way lower than that. They put out some numbers a long time ago. I think Scratch was the one that released it about the amount of people that played the game. Maybe it was Hell Hades. Mm-hmm. But it's such I guarantee you a small percentage play compared to what could play.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So we got to touch on reset time. You guys have listed perfectionism.
Yes. So perfectionism, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that someone said, well, I'm not going to win. I can't get number 1. So why even bother? I mean, wow. that's probably the number 1 excuse I hear why people don't push. Really? And I'm like, hey guys, come on, this is a game and it's competitive. You're not only testing yourself, but you're testing against the best. Mm-hmm. And PvP for me, Plat Arena has opened up a whole nother game for me, and it's the reason why I'm in game. You mentioned it earlier on your stream today. PvP is the fun part. Everything else, once you complete it, it's done. It's auto. It sucks. You move on. And you can only fine tune, I got 2 more seconds off my dungeon time, whatever. PvP is the true end game, true test of your account. And it continues. It's ever changing. But the people have that perfectionism. It's like they want to be perfect, and I can't win, or I don't think I'll place well, so they don't.
Wow.
Yeah, they just don't play. They literally just won't play. They feel like it's a waste of time.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that was going on, man. You learn something new every day. Huh. Okay.
There's a lot of people in Gold 5 that don't ever climb to Plat,
Mm-hmm.
So they're just chilling.
I've helped some of our clanmates that they have accounts top 100 capable, and I'm like, why don't you guys do it? They're like, oh, I don't think I can. I don't have a chance to win, or I don't think I'll place that well. And I'm like, I'm looking at I'm the one building your champs. I'm telling you, you can be top 100, and they still don't see the merit in it. And it blows me away. I'm not built that way, so.
Yeah, me neither. I'll push as long as I got the time to push, man. I'm not. I know I don't have the best account or whatever, but it's about the fun for me. This is a game. I'm not doing it for.
Busy man. I'm busy, and I still find the time. 50, 60 hours a week. Even when I get home, I'm still doing stuff for work, and I still find the time to do it. I have people that depend on me. If I don't go to work, they don't know where they're going. Mm-hmm. So I still find the time. It's fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna segue us into that last aspect, pay to win. Yeah. Right. So it's very pay to win. The meta is always changing, right? So how do you obviously we know how people keep up with that, but how do you guys feel about that?
It's like, for me, I'm a spender for sure. I'm a whale, not a kraken, and I am finishing top 30. Mm-hmm. Granted, that's what they do and everything, but I broke the top 30 without him. I broke the top 30 with a Baron team, and none of my champs are empowered. I have 4 empowered champs on my account. So yes, pay to win because you need certain champions, but the total aspect of pay to win, I mean, don't get me wrong, plus 4 champs, the stats some of these guys hit is crazy, but if you are smart and creative, you can beat the meta with unmeta champs. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. And that's what's fun for me. That's why I love it.
Nice, nice. All right, last topic here is strategy, right? So you guys have duo counter and the counter sheep. Obviously, we know the counter sheep, you just don't use any debuffs, right? Or just, debuff at the right time, or you bring in somebody like Ronda single target debuff, or maybe you get lucky and the opponent doesn't have sheep on the champ that you really need to debuff. But let's talk a bit about duo countering, because like, dude, honestly, people just say that the duo is impossible to counter. What does you guys take on it? I know you're testing these things every day.
Basically, yes. The easiest counter for the duo at the moment, there's a couple different ways. The first one would be Turvold, Lydia, Necrit, and then Yumiko. You lock the skills, you pick them off one by one. A lot of times they'll run UDK. And then another way, you can obviously counter duo with duo. That's another way too. You can still use Rhodos, still to this day.
Yep.
Rhodos was a fusion a long time ago. A lot of people forget that. I don't know if everybody's played that long, but Rhodos was a fusion. And Rhodos is still very good for countering, the duo. Pick them off one by one. Just be careful. Don't hit Marichka. Wait till you can actually take her out. Most people build her in Stone Skin, try to kill off the Tauros, or put yourself in a situation where you can pick off the Marichka, and then typically they run additional reviver, and with Rhodos you get the extra turn right after. You take out the second reviver, then you can pick off the Tauros or whoever's left. And I'll let you take the rest.
Yeah, so for the duo counter, I mean, the number one safe counter to the duo is the duo itself. But if most people don't have that. The other biggest counters are, you already touched it, Turvold, Georgid. Georgid is a very good. Very good. But any big single target nuker is really the meta right now. I mean, I've seen people, they run Arbiter. Unfortunately, Necrit is almost a must to keep those squishy nukers alive. But you run Arbiter into a lockout champ, into either Turvold, Catraxa, any Rhodos, any of those guys, and you can beat the duo, even a fairly well-built one, in a minute 30. I mean, it's not impossible, and that's where you're gonna need to be realistic with your account, because I mean, I one-shot duo teams with my duo. They're not built right. I mean, I have end-game gear. I've been playing the game almost 4 years, so don't expect to compete with my duo if you've been playing for a year and a half.
Right,
it's just not going to happen. And that's where you realistically, that's what we talk about, play style and pacing. Don't push too high if you don't have the gear to keep you there.
Bomb the duo too. I'll let you.
Oh, bomb the duo.
There's a strategy.
It's bombable. There's some ingenious strategies that we've been coming up with, and that some other big guys have been coming up with. But Astrolith is, irresistible, so you can just stack attack on her. Most people, for their defense, run the duo slow, specifically Marichka, and that makes it easier. You can slow your Astrolith down to 260 speed and stack 9, 10, 11k attack on this champ. And so sometimes there's ways to do it, but so one of the common ways is you run it with what's his name, Suzerain. Yeah, he can remove block damage. Even if he's sheep, it removes block damage. So if you throw bombs out, you spread them, Marichka puts up block damage, he pulls that block damage off, and then you can bomb it. And then they all die.
Counter to that is run, obviously, bolster or somebody in shield, so the bombs are not as effective and you still survive, and then you can heal right after.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. There's also some more clever teams. They also use Astrolith's A3, where they exchange HP.
Yep.
So they run an unkillable champ in that comp, and they take Taras's nuke on purpose, bringing their HP to 1, and then she swaps HP with Taras, and now Taras is at 1 HP, and they hit him, and he's dead. I mean, super clever ways.
Shouting out Suzerain is like a really interesting one. I like that. A lot of people probably shy away from using him in arena, but removing shield block damage unkillable is like huge.
Unresistible too.
Yeah, that's huge. Cannot be resisted. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a meta champ, and this is what we were talking in your stream. Or your stream said earlier. You have to have meta champs. You don't. You need to be smarter than the meta, and that's
Yep.
what this is.
Yep. Definitely, man. So I would love to, maybe get a list together with you guys at some point of just like off meta champs that people should be using in PvP. Maybe we can make that a separate video. But I appreciate you guys coming on and just sharing some strategy, talking about approach, talking about play style. That's awesome. Hopefully this video is going to benefit some people for sure. Any last things you guys want to say?
Hey man, shout out to you. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Anytime, guys. And
Oh,
you guys are
I guess
always
we
welcome.
should. We should
Go ahead.
say, if you're interested in SP, join our Discord. Go to the rankings. You'll see Sacred Panda's #1. Our Discord link is right there. Hop in our Discord server. Even if you want to come as a guest and chill out with us, we talk about Arena constantly. So if you're interested, hop in our Discord. That's it.
Yeah, guys. So anybody interested in learning about Arena, you want to, learn from the #1 ranked clan, those guys in that clan, hop in their Discord. The link is here. I'll put it down below in the description for you guys as well. But thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for your support. I've been HWZ. Until next time, be good and be well.